I say the essay writing, we've got different types of essays. We have got essays that you just give information. We have got argumentative essays. We have got descriptive. So we've got different types of essays. Yes, so we have got different types of essays. Like Tabang was saying, we have got he was dealing with argumentative essay. So what you need to know is that each and every essay that you will be required to write, it is very, by its nature, if they say narrative essay, when you narrate, what is it that you do? Who can tell me what a narration means, or to narrate? What does that mean?
Good morning. According to my understanding, to narrate, it is to tell a story.
Is to tell a story. Very, very good. Yes, is to, is to tell a story. Lebogang, what is your understanding of giving a narration or to narrate?
Okay, giving a narration, as I said before, it is to tell a story. You identify. Yes, it was me.
Okay. Yes, quite. Go ahead.
I was saying that when they say you must narrate, you must give the story in detail.
Yeah. So you narrate the whole, what happened, when, how. So you give all the details. So you see, these essays, they the names that are given, it's self-explanatory, because if you say argumentative, so you know how you understand this type of essay because when they say argumentative essay, the stem verb there is to argue. And so this is where you need to understand it. It comes from the stem verb argue. When you are arguing, and this is now the misconception that you need to unlearn. When you argue, arguing does not mean fighting. To argue, maybe the synonym or the equivalent of arguing is to debate. When you are debating, when people are debating, it's just that you have got different views. This one has got this view, the other one has got a different view, the other one you share the same views. So people, sometimes we think when you talk about an argument, you are talking about fighting. It's not always fighting, because remember, it's in an academic environment, it's we use an expression to say it's a festival of ideas. So you debate, you argue, because you are protecting, or you are defending your view. When people are engaging one another, when they are arguing, they're not fighting. It's just that they are exercising their rights to their views and opinions. So when you are dealing with an argumentative essay, it is also about your view, how you understand this, and you support it by examples. So if you're giving a narration, say for instance, they say, you're taking a statement as a police officer or whatever, or a communication officer or a journalist or whatever. If they said is an accident by the robots, when you go there, you want to all the details, the narration, the descriptive, because we have now a descriptive essay where you are describing what happened. So descriptive and the narration, more or less, but when you're narrating, you're just telling a story. But when you are describing, that's where now you want all the nitty-gritties to say what this car, from which side was it coming? So when you are describing a scene or a scenario, you have to give even those little details. So this is now different types of essays, which we will look into in the near future, because an essay, when you're writing an essay, all that you need to know is to understand what is it. If they say argumentative, you are arguing, you are debating, you are not fighting. You see, that's why, you know, academia, which is where you are now, it sort of like polishes even the way that you put your argument forward. You don't put your argument by shouting or by swearing, or no, you put your point across. You sort of like defend my ideas to say, because remember, where you come from, you have knowledge, something that it is done maybe in your culture. You support whatever that you're arguing for or against, you know, using the background knowledge that you have. You know, I always tell students, I said, students, when you come here at the university, you are not empty. There is something that you know. It's just that when you come to the university, we package whatever that you know to say, let it be structured. We mold it, you know, to say, I know you were maybe from high school, wherever you're coming from, you had debates, you have whatever presentations, but here we sort of like polish you now narrowly to a certain a field, to say, if, for instance, you're studying to be a journalist or whatever, so we zoom your knowledge that you have to say, okay, now come and apply that knowledge in this particular field. So this is what an essay is all about. So let me start now with my presentation to say writing an essay is a very structured process. Actually, writing by itself, I describe it or define it as, it's like a recipe. When you say you cook, or yeah, let me use the example of cooking. Everybody knows how to cook something, at least. When you cook something, you follow a recipe. When you bake, you follow a recipe. You cannot start, say for instance, you're cooking rice. Let me just use the rice because it's a standard meal that everybody can do. If when you cook your rice, you don't just take your rice and then put it in cold water, and then from there you and that's it. Your rice is cooked. You follow a certain step. Some boil the water, put it in the pot, and then your rice must cook, boil, and then some will drain the water to remove the stuff. So there are steps that you follow. So even when you are writing an essay, it is very structured. It is like when you're following a recipe, because you cannot just write haphazardly. For instance, you cannot start writing by starting with your conclusion before you have your introduction. And you need to have, so logically, it must be chronological. It needs to follow certain steps. That's why my point here will be the basic format in essay writing is your introduction. You must have your what we call the body and your conclusion. So it's like a recipe. You follow it to the latter. And then the structure should be applied in any piece of academic writing. That's why I'm saying this topic of essay writing, it's an application to which whatever you write in an academic environment, it needs to follow that structure. So it means then whatever that you write, you must have your introduction. You must have your body. You know, a body, it's when now you have got different ideas. If, for instance, you are you are dealing with a descriptive essay, you are describing what happened, you cannot start at the tail end. You need to start from the beginning. And this is something that, I don't know, it's lacking in our system, in our education system. You know, I always cite, not in a bad way, to say the training maybe which our police officers receive, is it adequate? Because those people have to take statement in whatever the case that is happening. So if now you are not coherent in what you write, then it means then you can send someone to jail unnecessarily. So you see, it's very, very critical for us to know, you know, how do we package our ideas? If Tabang, you are talking about an argumentative essay, you have to argue your point. Whatever that you read there, you said, okay, this author is saying this and this and this and this and this. Yes, you agree or you support it because of this, this. Or you are against it because of your, so you give your views. And then at the end, that's when now we want to hear your voice, Taba. We want to hear your voice to say, in my view, what this author is saying, you have a different view or opinion because of this, or you support this view of this author because of this. So you bring your own understanding and your own experience. Because when you, I will emphasize this, don't think you are empty, you know nothing. No, it's just that you don't understand some of the things. And as you read, as you study, then it starts now shedding some light that, okay, now I understand. So I think we are together there. And then essay writing, it includes short, medium, and long paragraphs. This is what I was saying before, to say, when you see the word essay, it does not mean that, you know, you are going to write this 2, 3, full 5 pages. No, even a paragraph, a short paragraph. How do you phrase that paragraph? A medium or a long paragraph? How do you phrase it? You don't just write willy-nilly. You need to be, you need to follow, you know, those basic steps to say, I must have my introduction. I must have, if I'm defending on the idea, which is now on the body, then it needs to follow each other like that. And then you have the process now. Now we are breaking it down to say you have your introduction. Your introduction should be brief. It's a brief summary. You're telling us what is it that you will be talking about. So it could be, it's a very short, maybe 4 to 6 lines. This is what your introduction, because in an introduction, you are like summing up to say, in this essay, this is what, if you are not given the topic, if it is the topic that you are going to discuss about, so you must have your introduction, which is very, very brief. It's a brief summary, what we call a synopsis of what you are going to talk about. So for your introduction to be interesting, Tabang, I see your hand.
Madam, I wanted
Yes.
to, as there are 5 questions on my assignment.
Yeah.
And essay, should I, when I'm going to write my essay, should I include those questions, or should I just attach an essay on its own, or should I include those questions as they follow to be organized? I'm not quite sure about that.
Which questions?
Because it's an argumentative essay.
Oh, you mean
On my
yeah.
On my assignment, madam.
Yeah.
It's not a one question that is you are supposed to deal with. There are 5 questions. They've got their own description and questions inside. So I was asking, should I write an essay, or should I write it as in like it's an answer, question and answer, or an essay as we know an essay?
Oh, I think you need to answer each and every question. What is required of you there?
Yes, madam. I know I should do that. My point exactly is that when I'm going to write my assignment, should I write question and answer, or after the question, or should I just write an essay looking on those questions only?
Maybe let's do this, Tawangne. Send me your those those assignment question to you. So because I can't see them, I'm not following what you are saying. But what I'm showing you here, it's whichever type of essay that you are writing, these are the steps that you need to follow. So maybe because if your question says right, you read a passage there, ne? According to what you say, you told me you read a passage about this author who is talking about something, right? And from there you need to argue. You need to write an argumentative essay. Is that so?
That's correct, madam.
Yes. So it means then, if that is the case, you are going to write an essay. You're going to write or arguing about what this author has said. So you're going to write an essay. Yes, you're going to write an essay. So what I'm giving you here is to say your essay should have an introduction. And what is an introduction? An introduction is a brief synopsis. If this author is talking about, remember, I'm just giving you my examples. I don't know what that author was talking about, right?
Yes.
So, if ever the author, for instance, if ever the author is talking about load shedding, I'm just, you remember, I have to give a generic example to cover even others. If the author is talking about load shedding, so in that topic, when you maybe you're writing an argumentative essay, and then some are saying load shedding is a criminal offense to the citizens of South Africa. And then now you have to argue for why do you support that topic of saying load shedding is a criminal offense to the citizens. Then you in your introduction you will discuss to say, in this essay I'm going to argue about the notion that load shedding is a criminal offense. And then and then you can start your essay by saying, how did we come to this? You use maybe a quotation or something that will be very attractive. Because that is my second point. You can start your introduction by using a quotation or a proverb or a figurative language. If I say, how did we get to this? You know, I'm using a figurative language to say, how did we reach to this load shedding? What happened? Then on your paragraphs, then you start to say, you know, you do your research. Research shows that this problem did not start now. These are the aftermath of poor planning. So you have your ideas. Now you are arguing. Now you are having your ideas. You're having the paragraphs, and then to argue your point. Do you
point
follow
exactly, Miriam. I follow on what you just stated. My point exactly is that, as my name is Tabang, I wanted to, on my assignment, should I specify that that word name followed by Tabang? As I'm asking, I write questions and answers after, or should I just write an essay as we were taught essays, how to write an essay?
No,
that's where
you don't write Tabang. You said, in my view, in my opinion.
Okay. I was making an example on a name, that this word name followed by Tabang. My name is Tabang. Let's just say I'm writing down name.
Yeah.
It's a question. Then answer is Tabang. So I was asking if I should attach questions on my assignment, or should I just an essay only?
No, write an essay only.
Or I should write an essay only.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to understand.
Okay, no, it's fine. Okay, so yeah, so here I'm just showing an overview. You see how you start your introduction. Your introduction must be very interesting. It must be a captive to the reader who is your lecturer. Will say, oh, okay, hey, I want to hear more, you know, because you're trying to captivate him, you get him hooked by how you're starting your introduction. In your introduction, you can say, how did we get to this level? What happened? So, you know, you can play around with words. So the purpose of a good introduction is to keep your readers, which is now your lecturer, interested, to say, what is Tabang going to tell us here? I'm interested. You want more. You know, it's like when you're watching a movie, you're looking forward to say, oh, I want to hear what happened next. What happened? So, but you must make it very, very interesting. It's like, I mean, when you are writing, like you're writing for a show or a soap or something, it needs to be something that is eye-catching. When you see the title of a movie there, it must be very eye-catching. Yeah. So the length of your introduction should be 4 to 6 lines. You see, you are not going to write half a paragraph and then you say it's an introduction, because the paragraphs, the body is formed by now different ideas that you want to talk about. So this is just a format of an essay. So is the introduction, and then the following slide, Marina. And then now you come to your body, what you call the body. This is the crux. This is the main core of your essay. This
on the example that you gave us, introduction, body, climax, and conclusion. Or am I being too?
The body is remember, your ideas will be flowing from low, medium, high, and climax. So yes. as you are describing or you're arguing, your ideas start from this level, and then you have got another idea, you have got, so they are incremental. So the climax now is when you reach the epic. This load shedding should be treated as a human rights violation. I'm just thinking from the top of my head. It's a human rights violation, and you substantiate, you support what you are saying. You second what you are saying, because now we find that you are writing exams, or now I'm losing you because maybe there is load shedding. So it's violating on your right to education. It violates to a patient in hospitals. So that's why you're saying it's a human right. So when you are writing an essay, you need to think and apply what is happening in our daily lives, in our everyday lives. Do you understand, Tabang? So you reason, and let me tell you, the information, you get it from what is happening, because even the topic that you're gonna research with, it will be, it's not something from the sky. It's things that happen. You must go and research and read so that you can have a clear understanding. So this is what your body, you need to, it is formed by more than one, maybe 3 to 5 paragraphs. So each and every paragraph, it is an ideas, the ideas that you have, that you'll be talking about, and they need to be chronological. You don't start by an idea which is a climax on the first paragraph. They need to be chronological, not haphazardly.
Yes.
So each and every idea, it forms a paragraph. Don't lump ideas, same ideas in one paragraph, because otherwise now you will run short of issues to discuss about. Don't put all the ideas together in a same paragraph. Space them to say, in this paragraph, I'll talk about this idea. In the second paragraph, I talk about this. In the third paragraph, I talk about this. Now, my climax, maybe it will be the fourth paragraph. Then you have your conclusion. So don't put all the ideas in one paragraph. Space them. Okay, next slide. Yes. So my next slide is the conclusion, which is resolutions. This is now where you're taking the resolution. So this is the last paragraph of your essay. And then what? The conclusion or the resolution. Actually, I love the term resolutions, because this is where now you are resolving, you are taking a decision to say, yes, indeed, this issue of load shedding, you summarize all those ideas in your view. You give your views, your feelings, how you feel about this topic. If Tabang, your author, whatever that he was saying, you give your views to say, in my views, whatever this load shedding, indeed, it's a criminal offense and somebody must be held liable. We have got loss of lives, we have got this, or the government should have a better plan so that they can build other power stations. You know, you're giving now, you're contributing now to say, how do we solve this problem? How do we resolve this problem of load shedding? So many power stations should be built because the population of people has grown. You cannot have the same old power stations that were built 60 years or 100 years ago, and you think that will be enough. Let's deal with corruption so that we can have this. And so you are giving your own views, because that is now your conclusion. So this is how each and an essay it's written. This is where now you also say, because you don't just say what the author said, you also contribute to say, in my view, my understanding of this topic is this and this and this and this. This is now where now we are saying you're becoming a scholar, where you are contributing to that field of knowledge.
And now
then, sorry.
I'm getting where you're going.
Oh yeah, I'm glad. So, and then you say, if Tabang is a story or whatever that the author is saying there, you say, what is the moral of this story? What is it that I've learned? If we go back to my analogy of load shedding, what we have learned about load shedding is that good planning, it's a way to go. We need to have a planning that will mitigate the issue of load shedding, because every year we have census where you learn now that now we are sitting at 70 million as South Africans. So it means then the population is growing. When the population is growing, then you need to grow even the infrastructure. You cannot have, I mean, for instance, this nonsense of every year, you know, when you have to send your child to grade 1 and whatever, then there is no enough space in the schools. But you remember, you are informed by the number of the population that you have. What is that stats you doing? Because the government must use that stats to say, okay, right now, 5 years ago, we were at 50 million. Now we are sitting at 70 million. You cannot have the same schools where you were having 50 million. Now you have got 70 million. It means then we've got 20 million children that were born. So why don't you add more schools? You build more schools.
Yeah, that's
You
where
build
they
more
need
universities.
to issue out that.
You build more clinics, you build more hospitals. So you see, you are arguing, you are bringing your views, because you are thinking now to say, no, we cannot have the same problem over and over again. This thing needs to be, it goes to planning. It needs to proactiveness. We shouldn't be a reactive a society or country. We need to be proactive. You plan before. Do you understand how you write an essay, how you contribute?
Yes, an argumentative essay. Yes, I get it.
Yeah. So
That's what
it's
all about.
yes. So next slide, Marina, we have concluded. So you see, these are the types of essays. Some I just pulled a few. Narrative essay. It is a plot that gives details of events, you know, to say what is it, what happened, events or incidents. So you give it vividly. It mandates planning, brainstorming. When you're writing an essay, you need to plan, which is your introduction. You need to brainstorm. Brainstorm now, Tabang, is different ideas that you are going to put in your paragraphs. You mind map. So your introduction will sort that. So these are the type of essays that you will deal with. So it is self-explanatory. Narration is done in the past tense. Remember, when you are narrating, it's something that happened in the past. You cannot narrate something for the future or for now. You are relating what happened. And then the mood should be created by using powerful precise diction. The tone, when you are narrating something, your tone should be to say, yes, this is what has happened. Remember, you are trying to convince even the reader when you are narrating something, when you are giving a story, the plot of the story. So you are trying to convince your lecturer, in this case, when you are narrating something, you need to convince them to say, yes, this thing happened in the past. Okay, next slide, Marina. The descriptive, I've already spoken about this. When you are describing descriptive essay, you're painting a picture. Because if there is an accident here, and then when it happened, the police will have to come and take a statement. They were not there, remember? So the person who is describing the scene is painting a clear picture so that we can determine who was right. If it is two cars that collided, who was right, who was wrong. So you need to be very, very, very explicit. You're describing people or places or situation. You know, there are people who can describe a place and then they take you there, even though you haven't been to Italy. And then the way that they write a descriptive essay, you're like, wow, you feel you have been there to Italy, but you haven't even visited it. So this is how, and remember now, guys, you are in a matured state. Now we expect something that I'm like, wow. Oh, the way that Lebogang described this scenario, I feel like I'm there. Because remember, when, from these essays, let me tell you, maybe you don't know what prospects of career of writing essays can give you. Remember now we have got, you can write a book, short stories, a novel and whatever. You become an author just by having the knowledge of writing an essay. You can be an author, a writer. You can write short stories. You can write drama. You can write a film or whatever. So it's a very high order thing. And if you have interest of writing essays, it develops you to become one of these big people. So it's not something that you must just do it just for the sake of doing. You must know that it has got a career potential. If Tabang, you are able to argue for something, it means then you can even become a lawyer, because lawyers argue cases. They debate, they convince the judge. Do you understand where this thing can take you? If you are a journalist, you are reporting, you want to do, maybe you are doing media studies or whatever, you are able to put your ideas chronologically in a sense that, you appreciate, even when you read a book written by this renowned author, you enjoy it. You're like, wow, the way this write, it starts here from writing an essay. So it's not something that you need to take it light. So the descriptive essay, it relies on details. I don't know whether it was Lebogang or Cynthia who said so, to say you need to give, when you're describing, you give details or the impression of the topic. So when you're describing, we have an acronym here that applies to descriptive essay. The acronym says SIDES. SIDES means your argument, your description must be strong. You must use strong verbs. It must be imagery. Remember, when you describe something, somebody who was not there must imagine. So you use what we call imageries. You imagine things. And then it must be detailed. That is the D. The E, you use the experience, what you have felt there. And then S is the suggestions. So this is how you describe. The acronym is called SIDES. And by the way, Ms. Kutsie Marina is going to share these slides with you so that you can be able to revise and understand. And then the descriptive, it is done now in the present tense. Remember, the narrative, it is in the past because it's something that happened before. But the descriptive essay, you do it, you present it in the present tense because it's something that happened and then you are describing it for now. So avoid using same beginnings in sentences. When you become a good writer, you don't say, you start your sentence with the same same way or style. You say, maybe you are saying load shedding, it's something that was created by poor planning. So when you come now, it's a sentence. When you come now to the second sentence, you don't start again by saying load shedding happened. So you vary the way that you start your sentence when you are describing. So if you say load shedding is it's something that was created by poor planning, then when you come to the second sentence, you said, therefore, it needs to be addressed as a national crisis. I didn't say load shedding again. You understand, Tabang, how you write. You don't write using the same. You start the sentence the same way. No. It's a poor writing style. So you use the pronouns, it. You use the another phrase that is still talking about load shedding, but then you play around with words. So it's very, very critical because it shows your level of writing an essay, and it makes, because if you start it the same way, load shedding, load shedding, load shed, it's I mean, really, it's boring. I'm sure you might have learned that even in the high school or wherever you're coming from. So next slide, Marina. Here I'm just showing you different types of essay. Expository essay. So when we talk about expository, we're talking about an investigative idea, because you are exposing, when you see these terms, ask yourself a question. When you talk about expository, it's coming from which verb? What is the verb stem? The verb stem will be expose. Then you get an expository essay, which requires an investigation on the idea. If now we say, listen, we have to investigate, where did this load shedding come from? You see, now you are investigating the idea of load shedding. Then you're going to go back to say, there was an article, 2005, when President Thabo Mbeki was still a president. There was a submission from Treasury to say, since now we have got few power stations and we're rolling out power to millions of people now, unlike before, let's build other power stations. So you go and research. What happened. As academic students now, you don't just take things at face value. Read and understand, how did we come here? What happened? Who did not do what? So it's an expository essay where you want to expose, you want to interrogate the idea to say what has happened. So in an expository, you explain what happened, you describe what happened, you discuss the background, what happened back then. So this is now, because you want to expose, you want to lay bare the truth about the matter, unlike just going with the flow to say, yeah, 2022, 2023, we suffered from load shedding. But how did we come to this? What happened? What did not happen? So you see, you want to expose the truth. You want to know, you're delving deeper to get the truth of the matter. And then next slide. I think I just took a few examples. You see, argumentative essay. This argumentative essay, Tabang, alternatively, is persuasive. Persuasive, what is the stem verb which persuasive comes from? Anyone who wants to attempt? Persuasive or argumentative? Because when you argue, you are debating. When you I nearly told you the verb stem. Who wants to try? This persuasive, yeah, Cynthia?
I think the verb stem should be persuading. Like if you're trying to buy people into your idea.
Yes, it's to pursue. The verb stem is pursue. You are so right, Cynthia, because you are, I actually explain it so well, so beautiful, that you are pursuing, you're convincing. Because remember, even when you're arguing for something, Tabang, you are convincing this person to say, this is my view. You must buy into my views. But you do it by pursuing. That's why we're saying you can use them interchangeably. Persuasive essay or argumentative essay, because you are pursuing your ideas. You are arguing your ideas to say, buy, listen to me, buy my story. And you don't do it by fighting. You do it by selling your ideas. You know, I don't know now because I'm not sure about your education system. I'm a teacher by profession. So we used to do debates, right? We call them debates then. Back then, we were not using these nice terms, argumentative, whatever. So, but we debated. When they say, I remember one of the motion, because they were called motions, topics, ne? They will say, a pen is mightier than the sword. The pen as in pen of writing, is mightier than the sword. You know what it meant? It meant that when you have ideas, you argue or you persuade your ideas by engagement, by deliberations. So it's stronger than taking weapons and saying we are fighting. So hence they say a pen is mightier than the sword. Sword, it kills, you're fighting, you spill blood and whatever. And if there is one thing that I'm happy about South Africa, I know we've got lots of our problems and challenges and what have you, but one thing that our democracy brought in South Africa is that we never had a bloodshed when we acquire our democracy. Whereas if you check in Africa, they fight, they kill each other and whatever. But we were very, very smart. That's why our democracy is celebrated in the whole world, to say South Africa acquired democracy without any spill of blood. So we should be proud of ourselves because we believe in negotiating. We believe in debating. We believe in selling what we believe in. We don't take arms and fight and kill one another. No, that's not what democracy is all about. So you see, that is now you persuading. You persuade a reader. If Tabang, you have written your argument, you're persuading your reader, who is your lecturer, to convince him to say, me as Tabang, I've got these views, and please hear me out, buy my ideas. You don't fight. You don't take a sword or a gun or whatever. No, we don't believe in gun. So these essays help us to understand that both sides of the argument. Tabang, if your views are different from mine, you're arguing for, I'm arguing against. It doesn't mean that me and you, we are fighting. And both sides might be right. That's why at the university, sometimes there is no wrong or right answer. As long as you debate or you discuss whatever within your question that you have been given. So there's really no right or wrong answer, because and policy can write his argumentative essay and then against what the author is saying, and Thabang can argue for what the author is saying. There is nobody who is wrong as long as you substantiate, you support your idea. Policy will say, no, I'm against this, but these are my views. I'm supporting my views by these points. Thabang said, no, I am for this idea, but I'm support. So you see, there is nobody who is wrong. There's nobody who is wrong because you are supporting your ideas. So in an argument, both sides of argument have to be presented explicitly. For instance, if you are pitching, you are selling something, you're advertising something, you convince the buyers to say chicken from Woolworths, it's better than the one from ShopRite. You have to support your idea. You're selling to say, no, ours, when you cook it, when you roast it, it does not melt or whatever. So you are selling. You see, when you argue, you know, this argumentative essay, it can give you lots of careers because you can be pitching an idea, or maybe you want to start your business. When you write your business plan, how do you convince these people to give you whatever they tender? Even though I hate this tender system thing because that's where corruption comes in. But you're selling something to the buyers. How do you do that? You convince them to say, mine, no, it's better than this one. So yeah, that is now the argumentative or persuasive from pursue. Okay. Yeah, so my dear students, I was just giving you just the overview of how you will write your essay. Remember, I'm recapping now. Essay, it can come in different forms. Your assignment question, when you read it there, I think maybe I should even give you the techniques of reading to say, when you read your assignment question, before you write your essay, how do you read that question so that you can be able to follow and understand?